cubicles so people can talk to each other. Well, right now, I think I'm kind of glad that our cubicles are high. It provides that additional level of protection for the folks working here. Probably one of the toughest things for us, and I think we're probably all a little guilty of violating it, is the social distancing. We're talking people to make sure we maintain that 6-foot distance. It's so comfortable to get closer into people's personal space. That's a constant reminder here. And again, even face coverings is just a constant reminder. I don't know how many times I've walked out of my office, got into the elevator, and had to turn around and walk back because I've forgotten the facial covering in my office. Some of the things, it's like the supply chain has been kind of interesting for us in terms of making sure we have personal protective equipment. We actually made some organizational moves inside our bureaus here to move somebody around. We put a sergeant in charge of emergency planning who happens to be very good at it, and designated somebody as logistics because we've had to do a little creative work on getting N95 masks and making sure that we have surgical masks and getting all of that stuff online so that we can do our job. And so having somebody to do that, being able to offload that, and having one person who tracks that is a really good thing. We increased our cleaning frequency inside the building, especially the high touch areas, elevators, restrooms, doorknobs. So our janitorial staff has really helped doing that. With that, we're looking at trying to install some additional hand sanitizing equipment, but man, the hand sanitizer likes to disappear quickly. And it has been hard to find, but we managed to get a supply. So we have sanitizer in all the cars, at desks, and in all the common areas, so that if you don't have an opportunity to wash your hands, you can sanitize your hands regularly. As I said, going to appointments rather than letting people walk in. As you see the county start to slowly open, you'll notice today certain non-essential businesses are allowed to open, but it's for curbside delivery. They're really trying to emphasize the social distancing. We'll have to see where they go, but I think where you'll see the county move to slowly and the state move to slowly, as other businesses are allowed to open, and if you allow people to go in, businesses are going to have to figure out how to put that social distancing in place so that we're not as close to each other as we are, as we used to be. Anytime we have somebody who has a presumed contact with somebody, that may be COVID-19 or a confirmed contact with somebody, we the fancy words are freeze proxemics. We have the officer remain in place. We send out a supervisor. We've actually taken the time to try to work through a flow chart of what steps need to be taken so that we minimize them going around here. And I get a reality. If I am exposed right this minute, I am not going to be infectious for probably at least 48 hours until that viral load builds up in your system before you can transmit it to somebody. But in order to make sure that we're not moving it around the building, we freeze everything in place and we figure out what we need to do. We assess the level of the exposure. Is it low risk? Is it high risk? Do we need to send somebody home? Do we need to decon the car? We make sure that they have the equipment, and we make sure that they decon all of their gear, all to minimize our exposure to this. And then, as I said, looking at things going for that deep cleaning when you have a process, making sure you have the supplies or a vendor that can do that. We put in place a vendor to be able to do our cars on an as-needed basis, and then because we operate a custody facility, we've had certain equipment and certain chemicals, if you will, or cleaning supplies, I guess I should say, in place to be able to deal with that. Because while COVID-19 can be passed very easily from person to person, this is not the first time that we've had to deal with infectious diseases, whether it's as simple as the flu, or if people remember MRSA and those types of things. Running a custody facility, you're always worried about that type of bacteria or virus entering the workplace. And so we already had some procedures in place that we actually looked at and used and adapted to our workplace. So I hope maybe a few of those tips are helpful if you have a business that you're opening or will be able to open hopefully in the next few weeks as things unwind. I certainly hope that everybody stays safe. And if I haven't put everybody to sleep, I'd be happy to answer a few questions.
Good morning, Chief. I have a question for you. Hi,
Okay.
Chief. This is Denise Miller. Nice to see you. You're the
Denise,
best.
how are you?
All those things. Hey, I specifically have a question as it relates to the DMV. As you know, many of us have had birthdays during COVID and have not been able to, our appointments have all been canceled as it relates to license and registration. What is the partnership happening between the DMV with the police, and what will happen as things lift? Are you getting a word where we're not going to be ticketed? What can you tell?
Some DMV offices have actually started to come online today. I'm told Glendale DMV is one of those. I believe they are by appointment only. You should have gotten a notification from DMV where you can do some things online. And then, sorry, the dates are not going to stick in my head this morning. For vehicle registrations that basically expired during the state of emergency and driver's license that have expired, you can get them automatically extended. And we're not enforcing like the registration tabs that expired during the dates. The governor said that, and a whole bunch of DMV information went out to the officers. So the enforcement on that is relaxed.
Thank you.
Hey, Chief, it's Eric Hamilton. How are you?
Good morning, Eric. How are you doing?
Hey, good. I think, as you know, one of my favorite pastimes is riding the local mountains. So that's been limited. But if we go, a friend of mine and I go up Brand Park or into the Verdugos, if we're 6 feet apart, do we still have to wear a face mask?
The rule coming down for the trails countywide and for the city of Los Angeles is face masks will be required on the trails. So for Glendale, the trails will not open until Saturday, and that coincides with the county. They're working on putting the signage up, but yes, technically you need to wear a face mask. I really asked our officers to use good judgment on that, and I guess just to be blunt, if you're truly all by your lonesome out there and nobody's there, it's probably not going to make a difference. But if one of our officers comes up, or somebody else is hiking, the idea here is not to be transmitting the virus to somebody else. And like I've told people here, the face mask or the face covering does nothing to protect you. It's really not for you. What it does do is it's source control. So if I put one on, it stops the droplets from coming out from me. And so what it does is it protects other people from you. And that's why CDC, Department of Public Health, use the 6-foot guidance. I will just tell you that some of the things that I have read, that when people are exercising, that could be a bigger distance. So, okay. But the technical answer is yes, you do need to have a face covering on.
Okay.
Hey, Carl, I had a question for you. You see people out who are not wearing masks, and sometimes they're groups or even those protests, but is anybody actually getting ticketed or more than that by the police department? Because it seems like it's kind of like a recommendation, but I haven't heard anybody actually enforcing anything when those people are possibly putting other people at risk.
The rules depend a little bit on where you are. So the county has its sets of rules that recommend it. Face coverings are required if you are going into a essential business. So if you were going grocery shopping or walking into any one of the businesses, you are required to wear a face covering. And you will notice that most grocery stores, convenience stores, they've just put a sign up on the door that either says mask required or face coverings required to gain compliance. And a lot of places are telling people if you're not wearing one, you're not going in. Glendale and Beverly Hills are a little bit different. They've gone a little bit further. I'm not aware of any other city. So I guess the easiest way to describe for the Glendale rules, technically speaking, if you are off your property, you are supposed to be wearing a face covering. If you're in your car by yourself or with somebody from your household, and household is basically somebody with which you are cohabiting. They live under the same roof you do. Then you don't have to have that. But if you're interacting with anybody else, you are supposed to wear a face covering. As I said, have we written any tickets for it? No. Have we issued some reminders? Absolutely. In some cases, like the first weekend this came out, we actually grabbed, the city had grabbed a supply of civil masks, not surgical masks, but just some paper civil masks. We actually handed out about 1,000 of them. So as I said, and we're still trying to remind people, and depending whether it is, if it's a group that's there. But as I said, most people will come into immediate compliance once we tell them. But just in case you want to know, yeah, violating that order can cost you $1,000 and get you tossed in jail.
I'm just thinking if there were a couple of those that made the news, people might pay more attention.
We're working a very fine balance here. It's kind of like whether you are doing whether it's the safer at home orders or whether it's facial coverings. If you look at our deployments, we're really counting on voluntary compliance for people to do this. It's like, the trails were originally open. We really didn't have the voluntary compliance. That's what led to the shutdown by LA City and by LA County and the city of Glendale on the trails, because everybody decided they were going for a hike and nobody was engaged in the social distancing. I think Glendale PD has a very good relationship with its community. I would like to keep that. And so to the extent that we can educate, encourage, and get compliance and stay within the spirit of what that law is trying to do, that's what we're aiming to do. If it gets to the point where, we have to use enforcement, we will.
Great. Anyone else has any questions? You can unmute yourself. Otherwise, we'll move along. All right. No one else. Okay. Carl, thank you, Mr. Chief, for joining our meeting today. I know, it's early morning, but we really appreciate the informative information you provided us during this time. And we appreciate your officers' great help out there as well. They helped us last week deliver some PPP face shields at the Verdugo Hills Hospital. And it was a great experience having them there guiding us to that journey. But thank you again for joining us, and we really appreciate you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you. I kind of missed the breakfast.
Yeah.
I had someone bring a breakfast burrito in this morning. But again, and on behalf of the men and women out here, I said, look, I'm going to tell you, as a chief, I couldn't be prouder of the people that are out there. This community has great police officers, great employees in this police department who are truly committed to protecting and serving this community. We couldn't ask for anything better. So, as I said, on behalf of them, I really say thank you for your support, and everybody stay healthy.
You too. Thanks,
Thank
Carl.
you. And we have a Rafael Quintero, one of your officers, a member of our club, which is
he looks like he's sitting in a bar right now.
He's drinking something out of a can. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, he's a great asset to our club, and we would love to have more officers join us as well. So.
We'll see when we get back to a little bit more of a normal schedule that aren't 6 days a week and 14 hours a day.
Great. Well, thank you. All right, guys, I'm going to show you guys just some more items. That way we can move on with our meeting here. Let's see here. Let me just show you my screen so you guys can see them.
While you're looking, can I just say, Carl, it's great to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Come back for breakfast.
Is that Peggy talking?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the hard part is, I think I saw you, but you didn't see me. I think you were shopping at Ralph's over here near the police station last week. Am I guessing right?
I think she's muted or something.
Oh, no, she might have muted herself. It's
I
hard
think
to
she's frozen.
Yeah, it's hard to recognize people under face masks. I've run into a few people in the in a store that have not recognized me, but I recognize them. But thank you.
All right, so we have a Lucky 7 meeting next week, 13th and 14th, and then we have.
And by the way, special guest to be announced.
And then we have our Monday, May 18th at 8:30 a.m. a coffee with a Rotarian. So please join us so we can mingle and chit chat early morning. And happy birthday to our May birthdays, Grace Chong, Irene Miller, and Inder. And we have Nick Akopian as well. And happy anniversary to our anniversary couple there. We got Mr. Hamilton, and then we have Inder, and we have Tri Fritz. So I know Hamilton and Inder already provided some lovely roses to their lovely wives. So hopefully Tri Fritz here is getting ready for his big day. All right, and then happy Rotaryversary. We've added a new person in there because it wasn't in Club Runner last week, but Andrea Moore has been a member with our club for 8 years. She joined last year, May 24th. And then Rick Dinger and myself actually joined Rotary in May as well. So welcome, guys. All right. And I announced last week our Rotarian Month, the amazing Michael Shaw, our treasurer, who's been busy managing our funds and issuing checks and just working out there in the community along with his lovely wife and kids, helping also the little pantries that we have out there, and also helping out completing the face shields that we worked on. Thank you, Mike Shaw, for all your work and effort. Now, before we close, anyone wants to pay a fine or anything for anything that's happened the last week or so? You can mute yourself. Unmute yourself.
If I can speak really quickly, one of our members, the Pure Hakopian, her father-in-law passed away recently. And as you guys know, it's been a really difficult situation. So if you guys want to reach out to her and, you know, show her our Rotarian family spirit, I think it would be appreciated at this time.
Thank you, Viv, for sharing that.
Okay. Thanks,
Anyone
guys.
else?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you for that, for sharing that information. And I did want to share as well that I'd like to pay $20 in his memory. He was a wonderful father, a wonderful husband. He lived a blessed life, and we are, we know that he will now go on to have another, again, more blessings on his way as he goes on. And we will remember him with fondness. So I'd like to make a donation in his memory. So thank you.
Thank you, Semper. My condolences to you and your
Thank
family.
you.
All right, anyone else out there?
I'll do a $10 donation just to make a donation. I know, as organizations aren't meeting and stuff like that. I know $10 isn't huge, but you know what, just a little bit to help our club. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Viv. We appreciate that. All right, anyone else?
I'll match that with $20. This is Ken.
Oh, hold on. I got Ken. Who was the $10 before that? Sorry, I couldn't see it.
Yvette.
Oh, Yvette. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We will conclude our meeting right on time, hopefully. I think it's 8:32, 2 minutes late. But anyways, thank you. We have a meeting next week again, and I'm not sure who the guest speaker is. Do we have a guest speaker for next week, Nina? Nina? Okay, she's muted. Anyways,
Sorry, I was muted. I'm still confirming.
okay.
Yes, there is one, but still confirming.
We'll also, I'm going to also have a special thing for you guys next week. It's basically something special that I wanted to do for our club, and it's to showcase you guys something. So I don't want to release the good information because I want you guys to attend, but I would appreciate our great past leaders to make sure they join us because it's all about them basically. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and enjoy your week. And if you missed the event last night, it is on our Facebook page, so you can actually view it. It's also on our YouTube page, so in case you don't have Facebook, go to youtube.com, type Glendale Sunrise Rotary, and you will find the video there as well. And that's about it. So thank you, and enjoy your weekend. Stay safe.
Happy Mother's
Hey, everybody.
Day.
Have a nice week.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day, all you mothers.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Mother's Day.
Thanks, Alex. Good job.
Great job, Alex.
Everybody.
All right.
And then it'll go here and then it'll no, the milk.